This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving: Crack the Code to Conscious Wealth Creation and Finally Manifest Your Dream Life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human beings. It is Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. This is a weird one, because not only has it taken me many attempts to get on to record this episode, this is me coming in to say that I am going to be pausing the podcast for a while. And I'm not sure how long. And this feels really interesting because the last episode that I recorded, you didn't actually get a chance to listen to because we were having tech issues, which I didn't find out until after I had spent 25 minutes recording the start of a new series, a kind of online book club, as it were, where I was going in deep on my reflections on Think and Grow Rich. And it was so interesting to me. The team let me know that the sound was so appalling, despite me doing a little test beforehand, that we weren't going to be able to use the episode. And that was interesting to me. And I also want to say that I declared how much I love this podcast as a medium for communicating what is going on in my life and in my heart. And what I'd noticed is over the last couple of months, I hadn't really been doing that so much, just gone straight in with the value. And I think because I'd heard someone say, you have to hook people within 30 seconds, otherwise they're out. And so I kind of shared less about what was been going on in my life and just wanted to provide the value. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what I loved about the podcast was the fact that I chose to share a lot with you. So this and my weekly love note, the newsletter, they have always been my favourite mediums for communication. To have the spaciousness to really just share with you what's on my mind and in my heart at any given moment. And what then has transpired is me reassessing where I am focusing my attention after going in deep with one of my mentors from afar, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who I know that I've spoken about on the podcast before. He's a fellow Hay House author. I met him last year at the Hay House Mastermind. I told him he had lovely calves because he does. They're properly chunky. I think that he loved that. And his new book, Rapid Transformation, which is amazing, is on pre-sale. If you order it, you get the kind of companion program, which is what I have been going through, as well as like elements of the book. And there's just this concept around being willing to let go of the good in order to create space for the great, and thinking about your big, hairy, scary goals and asking yourself, if you were going to be focusing all of your energy and all of your attention on creating the outcome for that goal, which, by the way, is an incredibly challenging thing to do, really difficult to be like, I am going all in on just this one thing. However, when we do that in conjunction with setting ourselves an impossible goal that you really don't know how to hit, what it immediately does is put you in the position of looking at what it is that you are doing and asking yourself, are you trying to hit an impossible goal, doing the things that you've always done? And if the answer is yes, then you are absolutely setting yourself up for failure. And what's interesting about the impossible goal is that it is designed for you to, in theory, not be able to hit. However, the hitting of the goal isn't the important thing when it comes to impossible goal setting. The becoming of who you need to be in order to hit the goal is the point. And the premise really is we reach for the moon and we hit the stars. And we're never going to be disappointed with that. I spoke about this in the Manifesting Sales Intensive when I told my mentor that I wanted to hit 10K months. And she told me if I wanted to hit 10K, that I needed to embody the identity of somebody who was hitting 30. And I really understood what she meant. She was just like, we always underestimate how much energy it's going to take, how much input it's going to take for us to hit our goals. So when we aim for what we think we know we can get, we're still going to miss it. So just stretch the way that you think, stretch your mindset, stretch what it is that you're doing into 30K. We guarantee that you're going to hit 10. Well, I didn't hit 10, I hit 26. And it's interesting, this is a lesson that I learned very on in my career. And I definitely have spoken to it. I definitely have embodied it sometimes, not all of the time. And just a reminder of the potency of going bigger. I think what shifted for me with goal setting is that I decided that from a teaching perspective, it was much better to encourage people to set impossible goals with expanded timelines. Because what I would observe time and time and time again is people becoming so attached to whether they were going to hit the goal or not. When they set themselves these big impossible goals and then 2 weeks into the month looked like they weren't going to hit it, people would kind of freak out and get despondent. And we hear this a lot when it comes to the science of goal setting, and like, be realistic with your goals, because people can't handle the idea of failure. And really, when you are living into infinite receiving, what you're saying is I'm whole, complete, and enough anyway. And the goal that I set is really irrelevant in terms of my inherent value, my inherent worth. People understand this on an intellectual level, and then as soon as it comes to me saying, right, give yourself a massive goal, people freak out. And they're like, I don't want to feel disappointed. You are not going to feel disappointed if you are living from a place of I'm whole, complete, and enough anyway. I'm not saying that it's easy, but I really want to make the distinction here that if you really were willing to do that work, the letting go, the unlearning of all of the stories and experiences that keep you playing a much smaller game than what you are capable of. I think that's the other thing. When you're not setting yourself these big, impossible goals, you have no way of knowing where the edge of your potential is. And that's so sad and boring and just like, there. So it's like, fuck it. Like, who cares if you don't hit it, if you're willing to go on the journey and willing to step into the becoming of the human being that has a possibility of tickling it. That's going to be fun, and the results that you are going to experience on the way are going to be amazing. So anyway, I expanded the timeline, which is fine. And what I've learned by being in close proximity with the women in the high ticket offer incubator is actually when we give ourselves a shorter period of time, we are way more likely to take action like a beast. Whereas the longer time we have, it is much more easy for us to operate from our excuses. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do this next month. I've got next quarter. And so where my mindset has shifted again, has evolved into, is really just so, let's not have the expanded timeline. Let's shorten the timeline again and notice where you need to do the emotional release work when you forget that you are whole, enough, and complete anyway. And let's go all in on the big, hairy, scary goal. Now, if you are looking to double your revenue or triple your revenue in a quarter, or 10x your revenue in a quarter, remember, it doesn't need to be realistic. It has to be impossible. There is absolutely no point in you approaching things in the way that you've approached them up until now. The question that you have to be asking yourself is this element of my business really going to move the needle forward? And the truth is, when I looked at the podcast, when I looked at the downloads, when I looked at how much time, energy, effort, money goes into creating the podcast, and I looked at my goal, I was like, I love doing this, but this is not the thing that I need to be spending my energy on right now in order to hit that goal. And so, therefore, I should probably let this go. You notice I just said probably there. It's because it's not easy. What's weird is that I relaunched a podcast 2 years ago, and it was pretty much at this time because I did Expert Empires. I launched it at Expert Empires, and we went to number 2 in the UK business charts, which is just insane. I'm so grateful. I've met so many incredible people. Done over 300, and I feel like we've done about 350 episodes. Might be 325. It's like, that's a lot. It's a lot of episodes. It's a lot of content. It's a lot of heart. And I love it. I love people coming up to me and being like, never change the opening of the podcast. We love you singing at us. I love that. I love people telling me how much value, how much they've been able to implement from the podcast that's actually changed their businesses. It's incredible. And it still holds true that this medium isn't the medium that is going to push the needle the most for me with my upcoming goal. And so therefore, it makes sense for me to pause. And so this is me pausing. I really feel that I will be back. Feel that there will be a time where it absolutely feels incredible, amazing, and right for me to go all in on the Infinite Receiving podcast. But right now, it feels like a great time to say au revoir. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. And if you just love audio as your medium, that's your thing, then please come over to see me on Instagram. And every Thursday at 9:30, I go live there with some training. Sometimes it's amusing. There's all live stuff sprinkled in. And you can listen on the go. You don't even have to watch. But that is where you will still be able to find me regularly. And then what will happen, I send a lot of emails anyway, but there's going to be more love notes. There will be more content-led love notes coming through on my newsletter. So if you are not there, then go over to the website and just click the button, join the newsletter, or over to Instagram. There's a button in my bio that says you want to join the newsletter. And I really look forward to seeing and sharing with you there. In the meantime, I would really love it if you took what I'm about to say to heart and really remember that faith plus action equals miracles. Until the next time.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.